greetings, everyone. I want to welcome you back to another episode of Heal and Thrive. So, I wanted to continue from where I left off on episode 5 because I'm still in the series of Sacred Boundaries, Understanding Verbal Contracts and Sexual Vulnerabilities. So, this is part 6. So, if you have not watched from part 1, because part 1 and part 2 is really laying the foundation, giving you an overview of what I'm going to go into in the other episodes of this series. So if you really want the foundational parts of it, I would suggest you watch it from part 1 instead of, jumping back and forth without the context of what I'm speaking about. So the last part that I left off on, I was talking about how we enter into verbal contracts by when we're in an intimate setting with someone who is a predatory and they are there because they're enacting their agenda upon you. And one thing about a woman's intuition is never let someone gaslight you. When you feel something, that is your God-given gift to discern on what is good and what is not good. And a lot of times we may not have the full information on what we're feeling or what we're sensing. And that's when we're supposed to take that to the Most High and wait for further instruction instead of going to the person who's trying to enact their agenda and be like, well, something doesn't feel right. And of course, if they're there being predatory, they're going to basically tell you that, it's all in your head. They're going to make you second guess yourself. So you have to understand what is inside of you that's protecting you. But if we allow someone to diminish that gift within us, then it becomes harder to trust that what I would call that still small voice. So I want to give you some notes that I had written down, and I wanted to talk about the weakening of your intuition. And this is one of the most dangerous, consequences when you're not guarding your sexual intimacy. And for some of us women who have been, celibate as well as men, especially when someone knows that you have not been intimate with someone for years or months, they want to come in, especially those, and I keep saying this word, that is in predatory energy, because they know how energy works, especially when you're not laying down with other people, you're not taking on their energy and they're not taking on your energy. You have to understand really the dynamic when you have kept yourself in a state of, maybe focusing on your career, focusing on your business, focusing on yourself and the things that you want to do. You're basically, grounding yourself. You're putting yourself in a position where your energy is becoming more stronger. You're harnessing that power. So someone who wants to come in and siphon off of your energy, they're going to want to come in and be intimate with you because now they gain power from your energy. They gain whatever it is. They're going to take that energy, and now deposit their energy into you. That's why sometimes, and I don't know if you understand it, maybe you'll understand it from this standpoint. And this is not what I would say like an intimate or sexual type of example, but it's just to give you a little bit of insight in how energies, maybe you've noticed it work. Have you ever been in a room with someone, or maybe at a job, or maybe around family members at like a reunion or some type of family gathering or whatever that situation was, and a certain relative or a certain coworker or a certain person walks into the room and automatically the energy shifts, and everybody like just, you kind of have an attitude, or you just feel some type of way because you have to understand the energy that that person is carrying. It's so potent regardless if it's negative energy or if it's positive energy. So if you're basically that type of person that's in a positive always state of mind, that you are neutral and judging. You don't judge based on to like hold it over people's heads. You judge based on the information that is given to you, right? So you have to understand when you can walk into a room and then all of a sudden maybe someone is in there that has a jealousy spirit or an envious spirit or whatever that is, and then automatically it shifts maybe your energy for a minute. You're like, well, what they looking at? Why are they sitting there looking at me, rolling their eyes? And if you're not careful and don't have what I would say don't have rule over your spirit, you will allow their energy to affect you. And I'm sure that we've seen, especially when we've dealt with certain systems in this world, whether it is the DMV, certain, offices that you go to where these people just have this negative energy on them because maybe they don't like their job or they're just mean spirited, and you're talking to them and they just keep giving you these quick, short answers, or they're being very rude in their delivery of how they're speaking to you. And before you know it, you walking away like, oh, these people, you're basically taking on that negative energy because this is what is overpowering. It is basically such an explosive energy that if we're not careful, it will shift your mood. It will shift how you interact with people. And I wanted to give you that example so this way you can recognize that when you feel a certain energy, even if it is on a loved one, you'll know now how to discern and say, wait a minute. And sometimes we can feel other people's energies, or sometimes us as empaths, we may even feel other people's pain. Sometimes we don't even realize that sometimes we are a sponge, especially when we are introverts and we have really been honing in our energy and spending time with ourselves, getting to know ourselves. What ends up happening when you come around certain individuals, and sometimes because we're healers, right, we end up now taking on the pain of that person, and sometimes we don't even understand it. We may have headaches, back aches, and just certain things that bother us, and we're just basically, if we're not understanding, we may feel sad or depressed or certain things that we're just feeling in that moment, and we're thinking that it's just something that we're going through, instead of really checking in with your spirit and say, wait a minute, is there anything in my, initial, energy field that is off, that I need to go and ground myself? I need to go and pray, or I need to go and journal or meditate or whatever that is. And if you know that's not the case, then you have to understand that either you picked up on somebody else's energy, or somebody who's in your energy field is now siphoning your energy, basically because of what, maybe they don't like you, or they're projecting onto you, and you're feeling that, because energetically that is a gift that you do have. And it's called, to me, discerning of spirits, because you're actually utilizing that gift to basically judge what type of spirit is on this person even before they open their mouth and speak. So this way you know how to navigate situations and circumstances. A person does not have to open their mouth for you to understand the energy that they're in, or the now, I wouldn't even say mindset, but you would understand how they flow, just even through body language, through, nonverbal cues. And that is insight into how you hone in on that gift a little bit more. So I hope that makes sense. So this way you'll know how to navigate certain people that come around you. If you know when this person comes around you and you're always angry, or maybe you come into a gossiping spirit, and because that's what's on them, especially if you don't do that. And sometimes we have to catch ourselves, because sometimes we think because a person is friendly to us, or we get along with them. But if they're always coming around you and talking about this person and that person, or the family member, or yada, yada, you have to now say, okay, wait a minute, this is energy I don't want to be in. And I'm going to have to remove myself from this person, or, limit my, interaction with them, even if it's a family member. So you have to understand how to use that gift and how to hone in on it, and how to now go and cleanse that energy, by praying, by journaling, and just doing certain things, that you go and pray and ask the Most High how to now, hone in and make sure you're guarding your heart, guarding yourself from other people's effects on you, because people will throw off and project on you all day if you allow that. So let's continue. So, your inner knowing, the voice that warns you, that guides you and protects you, can become muffled, right? You are energetically entangled with someone who is not aligned with your highest good. So, this is why we have to always know people by the fruit that they display. And this is why, I use what I've been through with the word of the Most High, because to me, the word of the Most High always gives us answers for life, practical answers for life. It's not over our head. It's not something that, is out there where we got to plead and beg. No, the word of the Most High said the kingdom of heaven is within us. But a lot of times we don't go within, and we're not really discerning from a place of understanding. We think certain things are to a place where it's just very hard to understand. The Most High doesn't make things hard for us to understand. It's about, understanding who we are in him, right? So I want to go down to some key points that I put out is you begin to second guess yourself if you're not allowing your intuition to lead you. Again, you'll let people speak to you, and especially if you're going to them because your intuition is basically saying something, you need to pay attention right here. But instead of us taking that, and I would always say journal and make notations of certain experiences that you're having with people, because one thing about certain people, they have a pattern. And if you know that they have a pattern, if you're not basically, writing it down and really, praying over it and really understanding what this person is coming into your life to do, then you'll just let things go under the radar. And this is how we get into all types of situations that don't serve a higher good. We'll make excuses for people's behavior. We'll make up all types of things because we truly want to be with this person or we see the potential in this person. But I always say, if that person doesn't see the potential within themselves, if they're not in that energy to grow and evolve, then it doesn't matter if you are a visionary, if you are a seer, it doesn't matter, none of that, because basically it's their work to do. It's not your work to do. And I think a lot of times people come into connections and relationships because they're trying to save people from themselves. You cannot do that. The Most High has not given you that assignment. Your assignment is to basically stand on his truth, be a light, and lead by example. A lot of times the only way that we can show somebody how to become a better version of themselves is for you to become a better version of yourselves, to not put up with things that don't serve you anymore, to set proper boundaries and make sure that you are now not allowing someone else's trauma to now become a burden in your life, or trying to help them through certain things that they're not taking accountability for. You have to not ignore red flags, because when we see certain things that is saying, well, why did they say that, well, why did they do this, or just certain things, the Most High will show you certain things, whether he's showing it to you through what they say, what they do, through a dream, through a vision. He will show you certain things. Even people will make statements about certain things in their lives, and you'll be like, wait a minute, but you told me something different. Why would you say that? And now, if a person who doesn't keep up with this is what I always say about a liar has to continue to keep up with the lie. Because if they're lying to not only you, but multiple people, they forget what they done told you versus what they told somebody else, right? So now, if you're very intuitive and you remember certain things people say and you call them on it, now they're thinking like, well, now they got to get their lie together, because now they know that you're basically now very intuitive, and now they're wondering, wow, did I say that? Who did I say that to? So now they're trying to backtrack to reassure you, but now something is in you saying that's a big red flag, and you need to put a notation right there, because if somebody is saying something to you at one point in time, but then now comes another point in time, and what they said to you previously don't add up to what they're saying now, that's a huge red flag. And a lot of times what I would say is you have to know the timing of the Most High when you call a person out. Like, sometimes it ain't meant for us to call a person out right then and there. And that goes with experience. It goes with, really trying to just step back a minute and say, okay, let me kind of ride this out a minute before I disconnect from this, because now I'm trying to see where this person is trying to take this to. And a lot of times the Most High will give us grace because we're gathering more information. And this is what I want to say, because the Most High is so eloquent in when he does things. He will allow us sometimes to go through a situation that may be painful to leave. But the thing about it, because you went through it, sometimes we spent more time than we should have in certain situations and connections. But the thing about it, when he has said enough is enough, child, son or daughter, it's time for you to go. It's time for you to exit stage left, because now you see that this person is really not for you. And the thing that I love that the Most High does is he makes the door close to the point of, even if that person wanted to come back, they know that they really have no recourse to even enter back into your lives, because the damage that they've done, they have done it so well that they have really what I would say, opted their own selves out of even returning because they know now everything that you called them on during that time period that you were with them. They know they can't redeem themselves because they know what they've done, whether it was intentionally, whether it was for you to chase them, whether it was for you to be in this state of overextending yourself. They know what they've done. So now when you give time and grace to that and allow them to now do what they do best as manipulating and whatever it else they want to throw into that mix. Now what ends up happening is they know that they can't backtrack because they basically close the door on themselves. And I love how the Most High does that. He says, give a person enough rope and they'll hang their own selves. So the thing about that is when a person is coming in a place to manipulate, and I want to say this very distinctly, a chosen one, and for the most part, yeah, we maybe have gone through trauma, we may have gone through certain things in our lives that causes us to be in a place where maybe we didn't discern correctly. Maybe we wanted something because we wanted to feel love, and we just thought that this person was the right person for us at the time. But we knew that there was some things off. But again, we always sometimes try to give people the benefit of the doubt, which we're not doing anymore. But what ends up happening is now we understand that when we go into future connections, it's no longer about giving people what I would say a chance to what's the word I want to use? It's no longer now waiting for a person's potential to show up. If you can't show up authentically as the person who you are, we women as well as men, we're not holding space for you. We're not waiting for you to get certain things in your life together, because if you're pursuing someone, you should come and pursue them with the intention that I want to get to know you. I think you're the right person for me, yada, yada, yada. So let me carry on, because sometimes I can kind of go there and go into this rabbit hole, but I want to really get these key points out. So the next point I want to bring out is the anatomy of a predatory man, right? So recognizing their agenda. Not every man who pursues you has your best interests at heart. Some men approach intimacy with a clear agenda. One is a sexual conquest, to add you to a list to prove something to himself or others. Because men have this game. I'm not saying women don't do it too, but right now I'm talking about the men. Is that, be like, yeah, I bet you I can, I can get her, or I bet you I can do this, or I can bet you I can do that. And sometimes it's just a game, and it's basically another notch on their belt. So you have to understand why someone is coming into your life. What are they coming to add to your life and not just take from you? Energetic extraction, to feed off of your light, your warmth, and your vitality. A lot of people don't understand that in this day and age we're into what a lot of people what I would call energy harvesting. And what people don't understand, when you go, and let me just put it like this, because this is what the Most High showed me one time. When people go to concerts, and I'm not saying all concerts, but I'm saying that people who are really into low vibrational energies, where they're coming to extract your energy, to siphon off of your light, your goodness, your good-hearted nature. You'll see all these people, and when that crowd is roaring, and I'm not saying it's just a concert, it could be at a baseball game, it could be at a basketball game, a football game. Do you understand the explosion of energy that is in those stadiums when people are rooting for their team, when they're rooting for their favorite artist, when they're rooting for, whatever that is, right? So it's such an energy explosion, because now you can feel it's like electricity in the air, because everybody is coming together and they're putting all of that energy out into the atmosphere. So when you are someone who is grounded, and you're moving in purpose, and you're harnessing your energy by not going around sleeping with multiple people, where you're just basically understanding what celibacy means. It means harnessing your energy, harnessing your power, and using that to create the life you want, using that what I would say, that sexual energy to create, systems in the earth, to create legacy, to create businesses. all of those things that you probably want. You don't want to work at a 9 to 5 job. If you want to basically travel and do certain things that is no longer, that can be easy for you to step into. It's about knowing how to take that energy and now move forward with it so you can create the life that you want. And people who understand how energy flows, they'll basically know how to come in and siphon from you, where now they're basically getting rewards off of your energy, where you're sitting here feeling like, well, why every time, people come around me, or certain friendships or even romantic partners, that they'll be in my life a couple of months and then they're getting these opportunities or these jobs and all of these things, and I'm sitting here praying and asking Most High for certain things, and I'm like, well, God, I'm happy for them, but I'm sitting here trying to manifest things too. It's because people are coming in and they're siphoning from you. And then if you don't know how to go about and utilize that and set that intention and set that focus, then you'll be all over the place with your energy and so sporadic, instead of honing it into one area of your life and saying, this is what I want to achieve. And I'm going to stick and stay in this vein. I'm not going to let any distractions distract me from my purpose. I'm not letting anyone come in here, whether it's romantic partners, friends, family, whoever that is, and deter me off of what I'm setting, because I'm taking all of that energy and I'm putting it into one place. And one thing about energy, it's going to now respond, but you have to be consistent with it, right? So let me go down to the next part of the anatomy of a predatory man. So ego validation. They want to feel powerful, desired, and in control. And if you understand, some men are ego driven and ego based. They're very controlling, especially when they feel as though maybe you're someone who's, what I would say, not to say gullible, but moldable. That's someone that they feel like, I can come in and I can mold and I can shape you. So now they want to have control over you, control of what you do. They want you to answer the phone when they call. Like, I want you to text me back in this amount of time. Like, why are you taking so long? Who else are you talking to? And a lot of times people are projecting onto you what they're doing when you're not around them. So you have to understand, it's not that you're not an unfaithful person or that you're not a loyal person. It's because this person has been moving very shiesty in their lives. So they know what they do and they're not, around you or in connection with you. So they think that you're doing the same thing, but it's really their insecurities that's feeling as though, well, if I'm out here doing it, then they must be doing it too. But they probably just, more slicker how they move. No, everybody don't move in that energy. Everybody's not like the person who shows up in that predatory type of energy. There is loyal people out here. There is faithful people out here. And the thing about us empaths, sometimes we do wear our heart on our sleeves, but this is why we set up our boundaries. So this way we're not giving away our power to people who, our energy, who have not earned a place in our, what I would say, in our space, in our orbit, right? So let's continue. So the next one is emotional avoidance, to distract himself from his own pain or emptiness. Let me take a sip of my coffee. And this is a big one. A lot of times people, because they have gone through traumatic experiences within their, whether marriages or relationships, and they've been hurt, they shut down that part of that heart chakra. They feel as though, I've given my heart to this person who I thought was my counterpart, and I never knew that they would hurt me or betray me, like they did. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely shut down. I'm not going to be in a place anymore where I'm going to give my heart to a woman or, a man, vice versa. I'm going to just be out here on, I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to please myself. And, I'm not caring about nobody else's feelings. The only feelings that matter is mine. I'll tell them I love them. I'll even, suggest marriage. I'll even make them think that I want to be in a union with them. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to move forward with that. And if I do move forward with that, it has to be a benefit monetarily for me. It has to be a benefit for me to move forward with a person. And let me tell you, ladies, just because a man put a ring on your finger and he does walk you down that aisle, you better look and notice what is it that he's there for. Because if he's not there to love you, if he's there because you just feel like this man is the prize and this man, you just want to be seen with him because there's some type of status associated to him, but you're really not understanding that, this man is a player, this man is a cheater, this man is a liar, a manipulator, and he's just there to play on you. He's just there to just ride your coattails until you're broken and empty, and then he's on to the next person. So really understand, it's not a win just because this person you may walk down the aisle and marry this person, but understand what is really the intention that this person wants to connect with you. And a lot of times people don't care. And this is what really saddens me, because sometimes people just want the look of saying, look at what I got, even though behind, when that door closed, they not happy. That person probably out messing with somebody else and they just maybe a month in their marriage. You know what I'm saying? But on the gram and on social media and in front of friends and family and whatever that is, they look like, oh, this is the power couple, the happy couple, but it's everything but that. So, we have to understand, really, when it comes to people in your life being predatory, know what the assignment first and foremost is on your life. When you know your purpose and you know what the assignment is on your life, then you'll know, and you'll be very strategic in who you allow enter into your space. So the last one is narcissistic supply, to have someone who adores, serves, or centers him. So this person is what I would call a parasite. They leech off of your energy. They want to be attached to you in a way that you can go and basically, pray and ask the Most High to, cover you or whatever like that. But if you're attached to this person through marriage or attached to this person through intimacy, they're continue to drain you. They continue to siphon your energy. And even when it comes to arguing, do you understand, when you're arguing, you're still putting out energy? When you're basically, going back and forth and fighting, they're still harnessing that energy, because you're basically, spilling out what that energetic field, and they're just, sitting back there, and they can argue back with you. But guess what? When you walk away, you're depleted. When you walk away, you're drained. But when they walk away, yeah, they may be mad or pissed for the most part. But guess what? They've now have your energy to move off of, and now go and utilize that part of your energy to do whatever they want to do, whether it is to attract more people in their lives or however it is that they utilize that energy. So be very discerning when it comes to that. And here's another characteristic of how these men are skilled. Because the words is basically looking very far away. Charm and charisma. They know how to make you feel seen and special and chosen. And if you don't know how to pour into yourself and make your own self feel seen, special, and chosen, then someone will always come in and try to validate you where you have not validated yourself. And after a while, if somebody is coming in on and they laying it on thick all the time, to me that should be a red flag, because the Bible says beware the flattering tongue. So after a while, it's like saying, okay, yeah, I thank you for the compliment, but what do you want? It should come down to a part where we be like, okay, what do you want? Because I'm not buying that no more. Okay, I can go in the mirror and tell myself everything you telling me and believe it, because I'm not going to lie to myself. So what is it that you're here for? Like sometimes you got to call people out on, what that they're trying to do. Future faking. They paint a picture of a future together that never materializes. And this is what I was just saying, is that some people will come in and they will say, oh, I see you as my future wife. And oh, I just see us having a beautiful life together. I see us, just doing all of these different things together. And that's to create an illusion in your mind. It's for you to create this illusion of how it would look waking up with this person, and, cooking breakfast and dinner together and going out together on dates and just all of this stuff. So you build this fantasy in your head and you hold that picture right? You hold that picture in your head, and regardless of what this person does or starts to do, you continue to keep this vision and say, well, but this is what I want, and this is what I see, this is what we can become, and this is what how life could be. So I'll just hold on. Maybe they're just going through something, and we just say all of these things to convince ourselves that it's going to change when everything in reality is telling us we tripping. Okay. So we need to stop tripping and get back to basics and understand I'm not living in the fairy tale. Everything that you show me in the natural, I'm going to believe it, okay? Because I understand that I'm in a spiritual warfare, and I understand that the enemy uses relationships to enact his agenda. So I'm going to be very wise and very discerning, because I'm not going to allow any relationship. I don't care if it's with family, with children, with friends, with business partners, with lovers, spouses, whatever you want to call it, right? I'm not going to allow anyone to knock me off of my assignment, because I understand how the enemy moves. And once you understand the enemy's tactics, then you won't be deceived. See, how we deceive ourselves is because now we don't understand how the enemy moves, how he works. It says he comes to kill, steal, and destroy, right? And who does he use? He uses those who are closest to us, those who have been intimate with us, those who know our secrets, those who know the things that we've been through, the things that we've overcome, right? So those are the ones who are so close to us that they can hurt us the most. The Bible says, beware of those who in your household, because the enemy sometimes is those who in your household. The person you sleeping next to can be your enemy, but because we don't think that, and we try to give people the benefit of the doubt, no, I'm going to only give you the benefit. I'm only going to give you what you show me. You will know a person by their fruit. It's either you're going to produce good fruit, are you going to produce bad fruit? And once I see your fruit, then I'm going to understand who you are, and I'm going to know if you should continue to be in my life, or should I, put that boundary up and only give you limited access. So let's continue. Here's another one, how men are skilled at love bombing. They overwhelm you with attention, affection, and intensity early on. Excuse me, my throat is hurting. And what men will do is they will come in, whether they're coming in through DMs or through certain avenues of however you meet them, and they'll come in with this love bombing. Oh, how are you single? Oh, you're so beautiful. And how do you walk around being, and you just, after a while it starts being so redundant that you'd be like, you know what? At one point in my life, before I was fully awakened, I didn't, we fell for that. Let's be honest, ladies. And I'm not saying all of you, but some of us fell for that because it felt good for somebody to see us, to recognize us, and to give us, compliments that made us feel good. But after a while, when they started laying it on thick, and then you understood that you were gravitating toward that when they didn't give that to you, you were starved for that. And then you would start, well, why isn't they saying this now? And it's been 3 months in, but now they're not saying anything. So they know how that push and pull, right? They know how to give, and when they want something, and then they know how to pull back to keep you in your head, to keep you in a place where you're stuck. But if you're discerning and you know how to pour into yourself, get up every morning and say, good morning, beautiful. Good morning. How are you doing? I love you. I'm pouring into you today, regardless of what that is, how you choose to love on yourself, how you choose to motivate yourself and inspire yourself, because regardless of who is in your life or not, at the end of the day, when these people leave your life, you still have to face you. And if you have not become secure within yourself, you can't look at people outside of you and expect for them to know what it is that you need when you don't know what it is that you need. All you need is to basically understand who you are. Once you get the vision of who you are and what your purpose is in the earth, then now you will move accordingly, and you won't need validation from people outside of you, because those who are sent to you through via the Most High, they're already going to build you up. And one thing that they're going to do is they're not only going to build you up, but they're going to offer you constructive criticism. They're going to let you know in a loving way when certain things that they feel as though, no, no sis, no bro, I think you need to kind of pull back right here. I think you need to do X, Y, and Z. But they'll always say, but you pray about it, take it to God. They will never just basically absolutely just tell you something unless they know it to be true from the Most High. And that's how I operate. I always tell people, I feel like this is what the Most High is giving me to say to you, but you take it to God and you confirm that, because we have to understand not everybody that comes in your life is there for you in a positive way. And you have to understand when people come into your life, discern the times and seasons that a person comes into your life. Are you going through a breakup? Are you going through an emotional time, a depressed time, a time of sadness? Why are these people coming into your life? And if you're not basically working on yourself during that time period, you don't need no other distraction coming in trying to distract you from your own healing. Take that time to be alone and go within. So this time, when it's time for your season for God to bring you out of that situation, then you're more clear on when people come into your life and what their purposes are. And this is how I got caught off guard, because I was going through a traumatic breakup with my husband when he abandoned me. But I had to realize that I was not ready for a relationship during that time. I was not ready to be in another connection with someone, for a romantic situation, because I knew that there was a lot of things I had to overcome. But when a person comes in and they make you feel good about yourself, and even though you're going through this traumatic experience, you're thinking, well, maybe God sent this person because of what I'm dealing with or what I'm going through. And maybe this is somebody that, is there to help me navigate through this space, as I'm, journeying it on this journey alone. But then you start to realize after you become invested, that really this person was just there to enact their agenda, because they seen there was an opening in your life where now they could come in and insert themselves. So you have to be very careful of the enemy's devices and know the times and season when a person enters into your life. So the next point I want to bring out sexual intensity. They use passion to fast track intimacy and bypass your discernment. Now, if a person is coming to you always in a lustful energy, always want you to send them pictures and videos and whatever that is, you have to understand, like, what moral code do I want to represent myself? And I want us to sit here and give grace to those women as well as men, because there's times in our lives where we have done things, and maybe regretted it later. And I want to say there is no condemnation to those who are in the Lord. There's no condemnation. So even when you done things because you felt that this was your divine partner, or this was somebody that you felt that there was, I guess, excuse me, leading to something long term, leading to something, marriage, and y'all both were exclusive. It wasn't something where this was just a casual type of thing. And you probably felt as though, well, we're in a committed relationship. This is what people who, do when they're in committed relationships. But then you came to find out that this was not the case, that this was something that this person was doing with multiple people. So I don't want you to beat yourselves up in that area. But what I want you to do is understand that your body is sacred. Your body is a temple of the Most High, and we're going to treat it as such. We can't take back the mistakes that we made previously, but we can sure correct them going forward. Amen. We can correct them going forward. So I don't want you to beat yourself up, because what a lot of people will do is they will try to shame you for things that you've done in your past to make it seem like now you're not credible, or this is not really who you are. And the way that you take the sting out of what the devil tries to now feel as though he's going to exploit, or he's going to now bring it out in the open, you say, yeah, devil, I did it, and what? And the Most High knew I was going to do it, and he see me through it, and I'm still standing in his power and authority to rebuke you. So you ain't did nothing but now put me in an energy, in a position now to come after everything that you thought you meant for evil. God is turning it around for my good. So go ahead and enact your agenda, because what Yeshua said, he said, no man take my life, for I already laid it down, but I have the power to pick it back up. So if you think that you're coming in here to enact your agenda or make me feel shame of things that I've done in my past, let me tell you something. There's a whole lot of Bible characters who did things that we can basically say that wasn't above board. And the Most High used them expeditiously, and he used them mightily. So who am I to sit here and feel as though you're going to try to shame me for something I did in my past? I'm in great company when I'm with the saints that went before me and still gave their worship and obedience to the Most High. So I said it in the last video, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. So I'm going to Am I going to end it here? Let me see. I got one more. Let me see. So I know this video is kind of going a little bit long. I got a couple of more points and then I'm going to end it here and then we'll go to part 7, right? So I also want you to understand intermittent reinforcement. They give just enough to keep you hooked, then withdraw. And I said that earlier. Emotional residue, energetic entanglement, and psychological imprinting. So whatever the terminology, the reality is the same. Intimacy creates connections that goes beyond the body. So this is the reason why you have to make sure that when you're aligning with someone, that residue after you slept with someone, I mean, even if you've done it, I'm saying again, there is no condemnation to those who are in the Most High. You have to understand, just because you've fallen short, a man can fall short, what, 7 times, but he gets back up, right? He continues to get back up regardless, and that's what the Most High loves. He loves a person that, yeah, they made a mistake, they've done something that they felt ashamed of, but they don't stay down there. They get up and they continue to pursue after the Most High. That's why God said to David, he is a man after my own heart, because David would say, it is only against you that I've sinned, Most High. And the Most High continued to bless David. So you got to understand, regardless of what you've done in the past, now that you have become aware of how the enemy works and how he may try to utilize relationships to get you into a position of shame, doubt, unbelief, and allow these lower vibrational energies to keep you stuck in a place. You don't have to stay there. All you have to do is repent, ask God to, forgive you, and now start changing your mindset, the people who are around you, and be very, very self-aware of who comes into your energy field. Now it's time to set boundaries like never before. It's time to now only allow those people who are in your life that is part of your purpose and for your elevation. So I'm going to end it here and get into part 7. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead, or comments, you can leave it in the comments below and I'll come in. I'll put everything in the description box that you need for this series that's going to help you to heal and thrive in your life. So have a great day.